Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to Communist Revolutionary Simulator 6, and all good things, and Communist Revolutionary Simulator 6 must come to an end. Today is the final episode.
Señor Presidente, we must consider your safety. Libertad is surrounding the capital.
We need a clear view of the sunrise from here.
Sí, señor Presidente.
I want yarns to catch the horizon at every intersection.
I have several boats prepared. If we leave now, we can have you and Diego...
This is the wrong design. I said Pereira, not Van Allen. Do not pollute Esperanza with my father's obsession with Art Deco.
Your eye is impeccable, señor Presidente.
Please, you must listen. At least the boy must be...
Enough! Can you see it? Where can you see it?
Let's take a look at the plaza again. Something modernist, like Genere.
So, Castillo's doing a Hitler, locked up in his hotel in Esperanza, refusing to acknowledge reality and playing with plans for the future. Meanwhile...
Okay, here we go, Danny.
Before we get stuck in, now would be a good time to take a look at the item set that we've unlocked by getting this far in the game, and it is actually really, really good. And here it is. Doesn't look too bad. The hat improves headshot damage, the vest improves all of your defense, the trousers allow you to start healing sooner after taking damage, the shoes allow you to move faster once you start taking damage, and the gloves reduce the cooldown between your manual heals. Although the bonus from the beret is kind of redundant. I mean, increased headshot damage. A single armor-piercing bullet to the head kills pretty much anybody, so it does seem kind of redundant. But as a whole, the set is very, very nice. So, to kick things off in the final mission, you first have to talk to Juan. I see that the gang's all here. Unfortunately, that means so is Talia. Yeah, no matter what you do, you just cannot seem to get rid of her. Everybody else from the previous 3 provinces are also sitting here waiting for you to kick things off. You've got Mama over there, Yelena, leader of the Junior Communist Club, the artist formerly known as Bicho, and of course, Carlos Montero's daughter.
How about you make me one of those Supremos?
Sure, I can do that. I'll call it La Espada.
That's fucking original.
It'll be small, but angry. And it'll spray knives and smell like a horse.
Does anyone like you?
Juan's not here to be liked, he's here to get shit done, and apparently also to murder children and be really difficult to speak to. Juan, hello. Oh, there he is.
You want to know why I followed Clara?
She had a vision.
It's because she's nothing like me. There are too many Juans in this world. Too many Antons, and maybe too many Dannys. There will never be enough Claras. Danny, you ready to break a country? The Battle of Esperanza has begun! Enjoy every goddamn minute, Danny!
Last time I was on a boat ride like this, Clara told me I should go work in a Yankee supermarket.
She was fucking with you, Danny. She knew exactly who you are.
She also told me that she would never live to see her vision of Yara.
Clara did everything with eyes wide open. She knew what she was signing up for.
She should be here instead of me, Juan.
You're allowed to miss her, Danny. Just don't get lost in the clouds.
We take Esperanza for Clara.
Viva Libertad!
Viva fucking Libertad! Check out the fireworks.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Now, if you're developing a first-person shooter like Far Cry 6, there are a number of different ways, probably 3, that you can approach handling the final mission. The best games allow you to make choices and have control over what happens. Cyberpunk did this, as did Far Cry 5, now that I come to think of it.
We've outstayed our welcome.
Hey, that's my fucking life.
Now, I know a lot of people didn't like Far Cry 5, mostly because of the politics, and I get that, but as a game I thought Far Cry 5 was a fantastic example of the right way to do an open world first person shooter. Cyberpunk was a better example of how to do an open world first person shooter. The choices that you made in Cyberpunk changed the ending, sometimes radically, and I think they put as much time into developing the endings in that game as they did in the game as a whole. But Far Cry 5 was pretty good as well, because the stuff that you did actually mattered. To begin with, in Far Cry 5, you could just choose right at the beginning of the game not to try to arrest Joseph Seed. Or is it John Seed? I always get the names of the various different Seed brothers mixed up. And if that was the case, the game would just end there and then. And you could also do that in Far Cry 6 after completing the first island. You could just say, no, screw this, I'm out, and spend the rest of the game on a beach in Miami. However, when it came to the final mission in Far Cry 5, what you chose to do with the bad guy completely changed the way the game ended, in one of two different ways.
Danny, charges are off. I've punched a hole for you two into Esperanza.
Nice one, Espada.
Danny, our squad breached the capital. Castillo's forces are not letting up. Be ready.
Eyes open, Paolo.
Time to pay el presidente a visit. Radio Libertad is live
Copy, Paz. You good?
I puked 6 times. I'm dehydrated, and I'm scared shitless. But you know, revolution and stuff.
He's fine, Danny. And don't you worry. We're cooking up a sweet soundtrack for destruction.
Let's speak some truth.
You on?
I copy, Elena.
We've cleared the perimeter. The morale has your back.
Libertad is fucking grateful.
On run would have fucking loved this, Danny.
Batter up, Elena.
Batter up.
Danny, you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be, Lucky.
Never thought I'd be storming the capital twice in a lifetime. It'll be chaos, Danny. The likes of which you've never seen. But take a moment. This is history.
And if by some miracle you reach that tower, remember, the war is only over.
When we are all free.
See, Eva, see.
There weren't a huge variety of different endings in Far Cry 5, there were only 2, but they were radically different depending on the choices that you made. The way you approached that final mission made an actual difference. So, in my opinion at least, and I suspect many people will agree with me, that is unquestionably the best way to handle the end of an open world first person shooter. Exactly the way that Cyberpunk 2077 did it, and the way that Far Cry 5 did it. Now, the second way to end a game like this is the route that's usually followed by, for example, the Call of Duty games, where they give you choices, but it's an illusion of choice. It doesn't really matter what you do or how you do it, the end is always preordained. Right, they've scripted one ending, and that's what's going to happen whether you like it or not. The only alternate ending is that you die and have to restart the mission. But the actual ending is set in stone. And that can work, that can give you a very satisfying experience, as long as you're enjoying the narrative that takes you up to the ending. So clearly Call of Duty stopped doing that around about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The first time they made Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. But as long as the story's good, that can also be a very satisfying experience. I said there were 3 ways that you could approach the final mission in one of these type of games. Technically there's 4. You could also go the Mass Effect 3 route, which is a sort of combination of option 1 and option 2, where you are given many choices with the promise that they will make a difference, but the only actual difference that they make is they change the colour of the ending. You know, the ending is the same no matter what you do, it just has a different colour palette. Hang on a second, why am I trying to knock a tank out with an anti-tank rocket launcher? This is Far Cry 6. Anti-tank rocket launchers do basically nothing to tanks. I need to start thinking outside the box here, don't I? But I'm going to run out of missiles or health before I take that tank out. So, How about the Supremo that I'm using? Because it allows me to shoot through solid objects, doesn't it? I could just... Come on, think about this one, Jingles. You've only got one rocket left. It's never going to be enough. Here we go. Fire up the Supremo. And now just kill the driver. There we go. I've knocked out the tank. Because as we all know, tanks are crewed by one person, aren't they? One person driving the tank, loading the gun, aiming the gun, firing the gun and commanding the tank. Yeah. Well, actually, Jingles... Oh, fuck off, Sweden. Nobody cares about the S-tank. I'm sorry, Sweden. What do you mean, kill the tank? I'm not going to kill the tank. I'm going to capture the tank. Of course, the game has considered this as well, because you can take the tank, well, which will require some repairs first, but you can't actually drive it anywhere. At this point in Far Cry 6, I was suddenly reminded of those old Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, where eventually, after fighting your way through this tight, twisting corridors and traps of this dungeon, you would make it to the end boss, which was a huge treasure room filled with gold and a dragon. And nobody ever stopped to ask, how the hell did the dragon get in there? What does it eat? How does it get out? This doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about, Jingles? Well, look at this tank. How did they get the tank here? Well, they just drove it down the road and parked it. Really? How? Look at all the anti-tank obstacles. I can't get the tank out. So, if I can't drive the tank out, and I can't because it's physically impossible, how did they drive the tank in? Because it's physically impossible. It's not just me. It is not possible for the tank to be there. Well, they might have driven the tank down to the bottom of the road and then built all the anti-tank defences around it. What? To defend against all those tanks that the Revolution doesn't have? To ensure that the tank that they have can't actually go anywhere. That's not actually better. Although, given how stupid the Yaran military have proven themselves to be thus far in the game, it is at least a plausible explanation. But Jingles, you said there were 3 ways of handling the final mission in a game like this, and you've only covered 2. Well, technically 2.5 if you count the Mass Effect 3 ending.
They're killing us! Where are you? Espada! What's happening? Can't move without getting swarmed by fucking helicopters! Keep your head down! I'm coming to you! Gracias! Coño! Here they come again!
Yeah. So, we've covered the best way of approaching the final mission in a game like this, allowing you to make choices and having those choices actually mean something. We've covered the next best way, which only really works if you have a compelling narrative, the Call of Duty style of completing one of these sort of games, where they give you choices, but the choices don't really matter. You're getting the same ending no matter what. And as long as it's a good ending, and you've enjoyed the story up to that point, then yeah, this is fine. Although, you do run the danger of going down that Mass Effect 3 route where you've had an amazing story right up to the last 15 minutes when it's ruined by an incredibly lame, fake multiple choice ending. But then you have the third and unquestionably the worst way of approaching the whole thing, where it's not even that the choices that you make aren't going to matter, and you're going to get the same ending regardless of what. They don't even give you any choices to make. I mean, you could argue that if they're not even going to give you any choices, at least it's a more honest way of giving you the same ending no matter what happens.
Fuck yeah, you two! Don't stop that magic, Billy!
You could argue that that's at least a more honest way of doing things. I mean, if nothing that you do matters, you're going to get the same ending no matter what, and it's just a question of persevering until you get that ending. At least they're not, you know, going down the Call of Duty route and trying to give you the illusion of choice and fool you into thinking that anything that you do actually matters. You're going to get the same canned ending no matter what you do, and they're not even going to give you the illusion of choice. And there is certainly some truth to that. But it is unquestionably still the worst way of handling the ending of a game of this nature. Oh, and on a more personal note, and I'm going to have to speak up so you can hear me here, I'd just like to say thank you once again, Ubisoft, for ensuring that any videos on YouTube showcasing the final mission of your shitty game get claimed and monetized by the record companies because you just cannot stop including copyrighted music tracks, can you? Thanks, Ubisoft. Stay classy. So anyway, you've got 3 possible ways of ending Far Cry 6. Give the player choices to make and have those choices make a difference. Or, wow, that AI. Or, give the player choices to make and have those choices make no difference whatsoever. Don't bother giving the player any choices whatsoever because they're going to get the same ending, so you're not even going to bother giving them the illusion of choice. They're just basically going to shoot things until the final cutscene triggers, and they better enjoy it because that's what they're getting, whether they like it or not. Which of those 3 routes do you think Far Cry 6 has gone down? Well, let's look at the evidence, shall we? Normally I try not to talk over any conversations between Danny and Juan because they're usually quite important, but no, you can't actually hear anything they're saying over that awful racket in the background. Just another example of the care and attention that Ubisoft have not lavished on this game.
Juan, it's okay. School's over.
And now it's graduation.
I'll see you at the top, guerrilla.
Put him in the ground, amiga.
So, yeah, which of the 3 possible ways of ending a game of this type do you think Ubisoft have chosen to polish off their masterpiece? Let's examine the evidence. So, do you recall at the beginning of this mission on the boat ride into Esperanza in the rigid inflatable boat with Juan at the helm? The beginning was a pre-recorded cutscene, but then it did eventually give you control of the character. Except it didn't actually give me control of the character. It gave me control of the mouse, it allowed me to look around, but it wouldn't allow me to actually do anything other than watch until I got ashore and dismounted from the boat. Despite the fact that we were sailing through a fucking minefield. And in previous examples of missions of that type, when I have been in charge of a boat, it's given me the option of steering around the mines or shooting at them and setting them off in order to clear a path through the mines. But it didn't let me do that at the beginning of this mission. I was present, I was correct, but it wasn't even giving me the illusion of choice. I was purely along for the ride as a witness to Ubisoft's magnum opus. Yep. It will come as no surprise to anybody that that's pretty much exactly how this final mission unfolds. All of your decisions, all of your choices, all of your sacrifices, 100% completely meaningless. There is one ending to Far Cry 6, and you are going to like it or you can leave it. In fact, the only real choice that you get to make during the course of this mission is how long you're prepared to spend mowing down respawning enemies, because that's a thing here, until you get into the elevator that takes you to Anton's penthouse, and you get to watch the end of Far Cry 6.
You have killed thousands, set my city on fire, destroyed the dream of paradise. All that stands between you and the throne is me and my son.
I'm no dictator.
Lies. You are not Clara. Yara is burning, and you don't put out fires with free elections. He's about the same age I was when the guerrillas murdered my father. I never thought that you would have to face what they put me through. I am sorry, Diego. You are my lion. Everything that I did to make you stronger.
You are not going to kill him. He's gonna die anyway.
Last lesson, Mio. There is one thing in life that will always be true. Do you know what that is?
Death.
See. You will protect him. From your friends. From the monsters.
You'll be safe. I promise.
Lies.
Diego! No!
Got to admit, didn't see that coming.
Everything's gonna be alright. Don't move, Chamaco.
It's okay, Danny.
Don't talk.
You smell that? That's the stink of fucking victory!
Juan, he shot Diego in the fucking chest.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Forget the kid,
Fuck
Danny!
you, he's bleeding out.
Was he hit in the heart, Danny? Is he breathing?
Lucky, I don't know. There's too much blood.
Don't move, Danny. We're coming up.
Come on, Diego. Stay with me, Chamaco.
It's okay. It's okay, Danny. You were the lucky one.
No.
Move, Danny!
Lucky, what's happening? Shh. I don't want to be the one to say this, but what do we do now?
Yara needs a leader until we can hold elections.
There's only one person I trust in this room.
You better not say yourself.
Yara is yours, Danny.
Lo siento.
No, it's not. I'm not a politician. Clara was. Maybe you are. The only reason we are standing here is because we didn't wait for one person to solve all our problems. When tyranny is law, revolution is order.
Where are you going?
Yara is yours. Don't fuck it up.
And while I can certainly sympathise with Danny wanting absolutely nothing to do with the politics involved in winning a successful revolution, the people in that room might take as long as a minute to fuck everything up. A cattle rancher, the leader of the Junior Communist Club, and a DJ. This country is fucked.
To fallen heroes.
To her, Yara.
You know, Danny, there's never gonna be an election.
There's plenty of Castillo's friends out there who want to make sure of that. You wanna go hunting?
It's like I'm looking in a fucking mirror.
Once a guerrilla.
Always a guerrilla. I ever tell you the story of the time Santos smuggled me into Uganda so I can steal him a goddamn zebra?
Yes.
Angry motherfuckers. But that didn't stop me, Danny. Just gives me confidence.
And then, just when it's all over, and I'd like to think that the developers did this, knowing exactly how ironic it was, but, well, given the general incompetence displayed by the development team thus far, I'm pretty sure it was entirely accidental. Right after the credits have rolled, you're in Clara's command center with the astonishing news that the fight is not over, because all of the forces loyal to Castillo are now the revolutionaries, and you are the oppressive government. So same shit, different day.
Job's not done, mija. You said it first, Danny. Anton's dead, but his army's still out there. They're the insurgents now. Feels like every week we got fresh targets to take down.
No rest for the wicked.
The beauty of revolution, Danny, is never over.
So not only did nothing that you did in the final mission make the slightest bit of difference to the ending, but it turns out that even after the game has ended, nothing that you did throughout the course of the entire game has made the slightest bit of difference. You're right back where you started. Now, I'm sure that in the hands of a slightly more competent development team, this might be a piercing and profound insight into the nature and failure of revolutionary politics, but this is Far Cry 6. So, I'm fairly sure that developers are blissfully unaware of the irony. I, however, am just grateful that while it may not be over for Yara, it is definitely over for me. You, of course, are free to continue exploring this utter train wreck of a game at your own leisure, but I'm out. Take care, folks, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.